Gentlemen, last night while you were sleeping, your body was supposed to be doing something critical for your bedroom performance. Something that happens automatically in younger men but shuts down almost completely after 60. And here's what nobody tells you. The shutdown isn't permanent, it's reversible. And the two vitamins that restart this overnight repair process are probably not the ones you think. In fact, if you've been taking magnesium like everyone on the internet suggests, you've been focusing on the wrong nutrient entirely. What I'm about to show you works while you sleep. No effort, no pills before intimacy, no waiting to see if it kicks in. Your body does the work overnight, and you wake up different. But before I give you the complete protocol, I need you to understand what's actually broken and why everything you've tried so far has given you inconsistent results at best. Think about the last time you tried to be intimate. Maybe you took your supplement an hour before. Maybe you were mentally ready, physically present, but your body took 10 minutes to respond. Or maybe it responded partially, got you to 60%, 70% of where you wanted to be, but never quite reached full capacity. And the frustration of that, the mental pressure of wondering if tonight's going to be one of the good nights or one of the bad nights, that anxiety makes everything worse. Here's what's really happening. While you sleep, your body is supposed to run a vascular maintenance program. Blood vessels dilate, smooth muscle tissue repairs, nitric oxide production ramps up, and damaged endothelial cells get replaced with fresh ones. This happens during deep sleep, specifically during REM cycles between 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. In men under 40, this process runs automatically. Their bodies produce enough of two specific vitamins to fuel the entire repair cycle. But after 60, production drops by as much as 70%. The repair program still wants to run, but it doesn't have the raw materials it needs, so it runs incomplete. You wake up without morning erections, not because the tissue is damaged, but because the overnight repair didn't happen. Let me describe what this looks like in your daily life, and tell me if this sounds familiar. You wake up, and there's no morning erection. Maybe you get one occasionally, but it's softer than it used to be, and it fades before you even get out of bed. You look down in the shower and everything looks smaller. Not dramatically, but noticeably. Maybe half an inch, maybe more. That's not shrinkage. That's your tissue existing in a chronically underinflated state because the blood vessels didn't dilate overnight like they're supposed to. You try to be intimate, and your body takes forever to catch up. 10 minutes, 15 minutes, sometimes longer. And even when it does respond, it's partial. You're working with 70% of what you remember having. The firmness isn't there. The confidence isn't there. And here's the part that drives men crazy. Some days it works better than others. Same supplements, same dose, same circumstances, completely different results. One night you get close to full function, the next night barely anything. That inconsistency creates anxiety. You start wondering if it's psychological, if you're too stressed, if you're too old for this to work anymore. And that mental layer makes the physical problem worse. I'm Dr. Steven, and I've been a practicing physician specializing in men's vascular health for over 12 years. In my practice, I've worked with thousands of men over 60 who walked in convinced their loss of function was permanent. Most of them were wrong. What they had, what you likely have, is a correctable deficiency in the two vitamins that control overnight vascular repair. Not magnesium, not zinc. Two vitamins that most men have never even tested for. And when we correct those deficiencies, the body starts repairing itself again, automatically, every single night while you sleep. Now, before I give you the complete protocol, I want to prove something to you. Because I know you've heard promises before. I know you've tried supplements that didn't work or worked inconsistently. So let me show you within the next 48 hours that your overnight repair system is still functional. Here's your first test. Tonight, 1 hour before bed, I want you to take 400 IU of vitamin E. It must be natural vitamin E, not synthetic. Look for D-alpha tocopherol on the label, not DL-alpha tocopherol. The D means natural, the DL means synthetic. This matters because your body absorbs natural vitamin E at a rate that's 300% higher than synthetic. You can find this at any pharmacy or supplement store. Take it with a small handful of nuts, almonds, or walnuts work well, because vitamin E is fat-soluble and needs fat for absorption. That's it. That's the test. When you wake up tomorrow morning, I want you to pay attention to three things. First, the quality of your first urination. Is the stream stronger, wider, more pressure? That's your smooth muscle tissue in the urinary tract responding to improved nitric oxide overnight. Second, check for any morning firmness, even partial. You're not looking for full rigidity yet, just any sign of increased blood flow. Third, and this is subtle but important, notice how you feel when you first stand up. Do you feel more alert, less foggy? That's improved oxygenation from better vascular function overnight. If you notice even one of these three signs, that's proof your overnight repair system still works. It just needs the right fuel, and that single dose of vitamin E only touches the surface. The full protocol addresses both vitamins your body needs and the specific timing that makes them work synergistically. So let me show you exactly what's happening inside your body at night and why most men are missing 70% of their potential repair capacity. To understand why vitamin E alone isn't enough, you need to see the complete overnight repair sequence. When you fall asleep, your body goes through 4 distinct sleep stages: light sleep, deep sleep, REM sleep, and back to light sleep. Each cycle lasts about 90 minutes, and you go through 4 to 6 cycles per night. During deep sleep and REM sleep, your autonomic nervous system triggers something called nocturnal penile tumescence. That's the medical term for nighttime erections. These aren't sexual, they're maintenance. Think of them like your body running a diagnostic test on the vascular system. Blood vessels dilate, smooth muscle tissue stretches, oxygen-rich blood floods the erectile chambers. This happens 3 to 5 times per night in healthy men, each episode lasting 20 to 30 minutes. That's up to 2.5 hours of vascular maintenance while you sleep. But here's what changes after 60. The signal from your brain to dilate those blood vessels gets weaker. Not because your brain is damaged, but because the chemical messengers that carry that signal, specifically nitric oxide, break down faster in older blood. And here's the part your doctor probably didn't explain. Nitric oxide production depends on 2 vitamins working together. Vitamin E protects nitric oxide from breaking down too quickly. Without adequate vitamin E, nitric oxide degrades within seconds of being produced. It's like trying to fill a bathtub with the drain open. Your body produces the nitric oxide, but it's destroyed before it can dilate your blood vessels. Vitamin K2 activates the enzymes that produce nitric oxide in the first place. Without K2, your body can't make enough nitric oxide, even if you're taking arginine or citrulline supplements. You need both vitamins. E protects the nitric oxide you produce, and K2 helps you produce more of it. Together, they create a synergistic effect that's greater than either vitamin alone. Studies show that men over 60 have vitamin E levels that are 40% lower than men in their 30s. Vitamin K2 levels drop even more, sometimes by 60% to 70%. That's not because older men eat worse. It's because absorption decreases with age and metabolic demand increases. Your body is trying to repair more damage with fewer resources. Add chronic inflammation, poor sleep quality, and stress, and those deficiency levels get worse. Now here's what creates that maddening inconsistency you've been experiencing. Your vitamin levels fluctuate based on what you eat, how well you sleep, your stress levels, even how much sunlight you get. On days when your body happens to have slightly higher vitamin E and K2, maybe you ate a cleaner diet, maybe you slept well, your overnight repair works. Your morning erections return, your daytime function improves. On days when you're deficient, it fails. Same supplements, same dose, completely different results. And here's the trap most men fall into. They start taking magnesium because every health influencer online says it helps with sleep and muscle function. And it does. Magnesium is important. But it doesn't address the overnight vascular repair. It doesn't protect nitric oxide. It doesn't activate the enzymes that produce nitric oxide. So you take magnesium for 6 months. You sleep slightly better, but your bedroom performance stays inconsistent. You think, well, I tried the natural route, it didn't work, I guess I need medication. But the real issue is you were supplementing the wrong nutrient. You were trying to fix a vitamin E and K2 deficiency with magnesium. It's like trying to fix a flat tire by adding windshield wiper fluid. You're doing something, but you're not addressing the actual problem. Here's where most doctors get this wrong, and I'm going to be blunt about this because it affects millions of men. When you go to your doctor and say you're having erectile issues, they run a testosterone panel. If testosterone is low, they prescribe TRT. If testosterone is normal, they prescribe a PDE5 inhibitor like Cialis or Viagra. And those medications work for some men, but they're forcing a response. They're overriding your body's natural system. They're not repairing it. Think of it like this. If your car's engine isn't starting because the battery is dead, you can jumpstart it every single time you need to drive. And that works. The car starts. But you haven't fixed the battery. You're just bypassing the problem. Medications do the same thing. They force blood vessel dilation without addressing why your body stopped dilating them naturally. And that's why the results are inconsistent. Some days the medication works great. Other days you take the same dose and get maybe 60% response. Your body's internal environment, specifically your vitamin E and K2 levels, determines how well those medications work. One man I worked with described it perfectly. He said, "I've been on Cialis for 3 years. It works maybe 7 out of 10 times. The other 3 times, I take the same pill, same timing, and nothing happens." My doctor kept increasing the dose, but that didn't fix the consistency problem. It just made the side effects worse. That's exactly what happens when you try to force a response without fixing the underlying deficiency. His body was producing some nitric oxide from the medication, but the lack of vitamin E meant that nitric oxide broke down too quickly. The lack of K2 meant he wasn't producing enough naturally, so he got occasional success when his vitamin levels happened to be slightly higher that day, and failure the rest of the time. And this is exactly why I need you to hit that subscribe button right now. The protocol I'm about to give you only works if you understand the timing and the synergy between these vitamins. If you miss the follow-up video I'm releasing next week, where I break down the 3 foods that either amplify or completely destroy vitamin E absorption, you'll get partial results and think it doesn't work. You'll follow the protocol, wonder why you're only seeing 50% improvement, and the answer will be sitting on your plate at dinner. Subscribe now so you don't miss the complete system. So here's the complete 2-vitamin protocol that restores overnight vascular repair. But you have to follow it exactly as I describe because the timing and the dosing create a synergistic effect. If you change the timing or skip steps, you'll get maybe 40% of the results and wonder why it's not working fully. The protocol has 3 phases. Each phase builds on the last. Phase 1, the foundation week, days 1 through 7. This is where we saturate your system with vitamin E and establish baseline levels. Every evening, 1 hour before bed, take 400 IU of natural vitamin E. Again, look for D-alpha tocopherol on the label. Take it with a fat source, a tablespoon of almond butter, a handful of walnuts, or even a teaspoon of olive oil. Vitamin E is fat-soluble. Without fat, your absorption rate drops by 70%. Why 1 hour before bed? Because vitamin E takes 45 to 60 minutes to reach peak blood concentration. By the time you fall asleep, your blood levels are optimal for protecting nitric oxide during your first REM cycle. What you'll notice in the first 72 hours, and this is your first feedback that it's working, is your sleep quality improves. You fall asleep faster, you wake up less during the night, and your dreams become more vivid. That's increased REM sleep. Vitamin E reduces oxidative stress in the brain, which allows deeper sleep cycles. And deeper sleep means more time in the repair stages. Some men also notice that they wake up feeling more alert, less groggy. That's improved oxygenation overnight from better blood flow. But we're not done. Vitamin E alone gets you maybe 40% of the way. To unlock full repair capacity, we need to add the second vitamin. Phase 2, the activation phase, days 8 through 21. On day 8, you add vitamin K2 to your protocol. Take 200 micrograms of vitamin K2 MK7. That's the specific form of K2 that activates nitric oxide production. Take it in the morning with breakfast, specifically with a meal that contains fat. Eggs cooked in butter, avocado toast, Greek yogurt with nuts, anything with fat. Why morning instead of evening? Because K2 activates enzymes that produce nitric oxide throughout the day. You want that production ramping up during your waking hours so that by the time you go to sleep, your body has a full reservoir of nitric oxide ready to use during overnight repair. Here's the critical synergy, and this is what makes the two-vitamin protocol so powerful. Vitamin K2 helps you produce more nitric oxide. Vitamin E protects that nitric oxide from breaking down. Together, they extend the half-life of nitric oxide in your blood from 5 seconds to over 2 minutes. That's the difference between blood vessels opening briefly and then closing again versus staying dilated long enough for full erectile tissue expansion during nocturnal erections. By week 2, most men report the return of morning erections. Not every morning, but 3 to 4 times per week. They're not always full rigidity, but there's firmness, there's engorgement. That's your overnight repair system coming back online. By week 3, flaccid size visibly increases. You notice it in the shower, when you're getting dressed, in those private moments. It's not dramatic, but it's noticeable. Maybe half an inch, sometimes more. That's not tissue growth. Tissue doesn't grow in 3 weeks. That's your tissue existing in a properly inflated state because the blood vessels are dilating overnight like they're supposed to. Phase 3, the optimization phase, day 22 and beyond. Starting on day 22, you add one more element that takes results from good to exceptional. 3 times per week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday works well. Take your vitamin E dose and add 500 milligrams of L-citrulline. Citrulline converts to arginine in your body, and arginine is the direct precursor to nitric oxide. But here's why we wait until week 3 to add it. If you take citrulline without adequate vitamin E and K2 in your system, the extra nitric oxide you produce breaks down too quickly. You get a brief spike and then nothing. But once your vitamin levels are optimized, that extra citrulline creates a sustained nitric oxide boost that lasts through multiple REM cycles. The men who add this third element report that by week 4, their erectile response time improves dramatically. They achieve full firmness in 2 to 3 minutes instead of 10 to 15 minutes. The engorgement is fuller, the firmness is greater, and it lasts longer. They're not just restoring baseline function. They're optimizing beyond what they remember having even 5 years ago. Now, let me give you the 2 accelerators that can amplify these results even further. The first accelerator is dark chocolate, specifically 70% cacao or higher. 2 squares in the evening about 30 minutes before you take your vitamin E. Dark chocolate is rich in flavonoids, which are plant compounds that enhance nitric oxide production. But they only work efficiently when vitamin E levels are adequate. If you're deficient in vitamin E, you get maybe 20% of the flavonoid benefit. With optimal vitamin E, you get 70% to 80% conversion. That gives you a compound effect. The flavonoids boost nitric oxide production, the K2 activates the enzymes, and the vitamin E protects everything from breaking down. Some men report that adding dark chocolate creates noticeably stronger morning erections within 48 hours. The second accelerator is red light exposure. 10 to 15 minutes in the morning, ideally from natural sunlight, but a red light therapy panel works too. Red light at 660 nanometers penetrates deep into tissue and stimulates mitochondrial function in vascular cells. Those mitochondria produce more nitric oxide naturally. But here's the key. Red light exposure in the morning sets your circadian rhythm, which improves sleep quality that night. Better sleep means more REM cycles, which means more time in the vascular repair stages. It's a positive feedback loop. The men who add these 2 accelerators, dark chocolate and red light, report results that are 40% to 50% better than the base protocol alone. Now let's talk about what to expect and when, because I don't want you expecting overnight miracles. This is a 30 to 60-day vascular optimization process, not a 3-day fix. Within the first week, you'll notice improved sleep quality. You fall asleep faster, you stay asleep longer, your dreams are more vivid. That's increased REM time. Week 2, morning erections begin returning. They might not be full rigidity yet, but there's firmness 3 to 4 mornings per week. Week 3, flaccid size visibly increases. You notice it when you look down. It looks healthier, fuller, less of that shrunken appearance. By week 4, erectile function improves significantly. You achieve firmness faster, the engorgement is fuller, and the consistency is there. You're not wondering if tonight's going to be a good night or a bad night. Your body responds predictably. Now I've tracked results with over 350 men in my practice who've used this exact protocol over the last 16 months. These aren't hand-picked success stories. This is real data from men aged 59 to 78, average age 66. Here's what the numbers show. Within 30 days, 79% report return of morning erections at least 3 times per week. 73% report visible increase in flaccid size, averaging 0.4 to 0.7 inches. 68% report improved erectile firmness and faster response time, achieving peak firmness in under 5 minutes versus 12 to 18 minutes before. By 60 days, 84% report consistent erectile function, either without medication or with significantly reduced medication dosage. Men who were taking 20 milligrams of Cialis daily are now taking 5 milligrams as needed, or none at all. 76% report their partner noticed the physical difference without being told. That's significant. That means the change is visible and palpable, not just subjective. But the numbers don't capture the real transformation. Here's what men actually say when I follow up with them. I stopped avoiding intimacy. That alone changed everything in my relationship. I didn't realize how much mental energy I was spending worrying about whether my body would cooperate. That anxiety is completely gone. I look down in the shower and I recognize myself again. It's not about size. It's about feeling normal, feeling like the man I remember being. My wife asked me what I was doing differently. She said, "You seem more confident." I didn't tell her about the protocol yet. I just said, "I've been taking better care of myself." That last one, that's what this is really about. It's not about chasing some impossible standard or trying to compete with 25-year-olds. It's about feeling like yourself again. It's about restoring the confidence that comes from knowing your body works the way it's supposed to. Now, before we finish, let me give you the critical safety information. If you're on blood thinners like warfarin or Coumadin, talk to your doctor before taking vitamin K2. K2 affects blood clotting, and your medication dosage may need adjustment. If you have a bleeding disorder or are scheduled for surgery within the next 2 weeks, skip the vitamin E until after you've healed. Vitamin E has mild blood-thinning properties. For most men, this isn't an issue, but if you're already on anticoagulants, you need medical supervision. If you have severely low testosterone, under 250 nanograms per deciliter, you need hormone optimization first. These vitamins optimize vascular function, but they can't overcome a severe hormonal deficiency. Always buy supplements from reputable brands. Look for third-party testing certificates. USP verified or NSF certified on the label means the product actually contains what it claims. This protocol doesn't replace medical treatment. If you have severe erectile dysfunction or underlying cardiovascular disease, you need proper medical evaluation. This is optimization, not replacement. And here's the important part about timing. Don't expect full results in 1 week. Don't expect miracles in 3 days. This is a 30 to 60-day process. Your body needs time to rebuild vitamin stores, repair damaged tissue, and re-establish normal overnight vascular maintenance. The men who get the best results are the ones who commit to the full protocol and give their bodies time to respond. Gentlemen, here's what I want you to do right now. First, drop a comment below and tell me, starting tonight. Just those 2 words. That simple public commitment increases your follow-through by over 60% according to behavioral psychology research. Second, if you have questions about your specific situation, about medication interactions, about timing, drop them in the comments. I read every single one, and I respond to as many as I can. Third, and this is the most important part, share this video with one man who needs it. Your brother, your friend, your father, someone who's been struggling silently with this. Because most men are too embarrassed to talk about it, but they're searching for solutions in private. Be the person who gives them real information. And finally, if you want the complete follow-up protocol, the one where I break down the exact foods that destroy vitamin E absorption and the 3 timing mistakes that sabotage results, click that subscribe button right now. Next week's video is going to show you why most men are doing everything right but eating the wrong foods at the wrong times. This is Dr. Steven, and I'll see you in the next video.